check. Can you hear me?
Yeah, very well. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you too, loud and clear.
Good. Good. Good evening, everyone. We are back again for a grand live session. Let me just take this banner off. Good. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Mr. Oji. Good evening. Where's my screen? That way, but we'll do it. We can get them. Okay, fantastic. Okay.
Beautiful.
All right.
Good.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, guys. We're excited to have you all here with us. We're going to have another fantastic session. Yesterday was a brilliant session on Clubhouse. And it's along the same lines that we decided to sort of expand into business analysis or the business analyst role. Yesterday, we were talking about the difference between traditional project manager and the agile project manager. And today, we want to focus on the business analyst, the traditional business analyst, and the agile business analyst, if there's anything like that. But before we do that, I just want to quickly say we are Cedar Pro. What we do is we train individuals, groups, organizations, and more importantly, individuals like yourself, right? We train you to become employable, successful, and more importantly, achieve your financial and career objectives. And what we do is basically provide you with the theory and the practice. We pride ourselves in saying that we are not theorists, we are practitioners. We are in the industry. We do this on a day-to-day basis. So what we're bringing to you is part and part of what our nature, and more importantly, is what the industry is actually requesting for. So we're going to go straight into it. We want to quickly dive into the idea that there is a difference. And there's not a question of whether one is good or bad, but you've got to be clear about what's the difference between a traditional business analyst and an agile business analyst. Zoji, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Yeah, you see, we dealt with this matter so much yesterday.
Yeah.
We went very far inside. I deliberately left the banner there for some time so that people can get to understand where we are going. And yesterday we said so much. And if there's anyone that didn't really watch the program or didn't listen to it, my advice to you would be for you to go back there. But first of all, let's look at who is an agile business analyst. That's the first you'll have to find out. An agile business
Yes.
analyst is a business analyst who works on projects using agile methodologies. That's all. That's just
That's it.
the
Mm.
that's just that's just the simple definition. Yeah. And the traditional business analyst will be a business analyst still using the traditional way of managing their projects. Simple.
Mm.
So then if we take off traditional business analyst, agile business analyst, we start looking at agile methodology and traditional
Traditional waterfall methodology. Exactly.
That's what we need to look at. And
Yeah.
if you listen to us yesterday, we gave so much examples where both of these methodologies are being used right now. And like what we said about the traditional way traditional way or of doing things, or traditional way of managing a project, or carrying out the business analyst, or traditional way of doing the business analysis,
Mm.
is going step by step in making sure that everything is well planned before you move into the next stage. While with agile, things are broken down into manageable tasks and then carried out while the process is still being going on. So if you look at it, well, I just gave the definition and I said that an agile business analyst is a business analyst who works on projects using agile methodologies. And agile methodologies are based on adaptive planning, then
Mm.
swiftness to change, and also most of all empowering people, early delivery, and continuous improvement. I'll repeat that again. See, agile
Yes. Yes.
methodologies are based on adaptive planning, then swiftness to change. In other words, a process is going on, software is being developed, but there's an issue. There is that swiftness to change. Let's quickly change and move on. And then there's that ability to empower people, because quite well with agile, different people are coming in with different knowledge, different concepts, different understanding. All these people are coming in with their own knowledge, and they are coming into work as a team. So,
mm,
but the agile, the business analyst, the agile business analyst, just he gives everybody that opportunity, or she gives everybody that opportunity, or they give everybody that opportunity to bring out the best in them. So it's empowering people, and then there's early delivery,
mm,
of that project, in the sense that, what, things are going on. We need to make sure that there is this early delivery, of what is required of us, and then there's that continuous improvement. Remember, I said early delivery before continuous improvement. In other words, it is delivered early, but we keep improving on what we have done. Now, if you're talking about the traditional business analyst, let me put it this way: sequential business analysis is sequential. It refers to writing a requirement document to serve as the foundation for the system development effort.
mm,
So the requirement document is usually completed, or mostly completed, before construction begins.
mm,
That's just the difference. Agile business analyst works on project using agile methodology. Traditional business analyst writes a requirement document to serve
mm.
as the foundation for the system development effort. So not until the requirement document is completed, or mostly completed, nothing begins. Because what they are
Yes.
doing is that they're using the traditional way of doing things. Stanley, I'll leave you to expand on that.
Yeah. I think you've captured the foundational element very, very well. And I want to sort of piggyback on the last thing you said, which is requirements. When we deal with business analysts, fundamentally, they are dealing with requirements. They gather requirements, they transform requirements, they analyze requirements, they model requirements, and then they communicate baseline and finalize it. So requirement is the key word here when we talk about business analysts. They are people who are solution providers, but in order to provide solution, they have to gather requirements, whether it's the scope, whether it's the vision, whether it's the problem with solutions. All of these things can be categorized as requirements. But the point is this: when we talk of the traditional business analyst, the requirements fundamentally is broad. It could be they are helping an organization, for example, to address shortage in sales. It could be helping an organization to solve problems within the operations of the business. It could be helping an organization to understand whether there is a market for a particular product. It could be whether they are helping an organization to make a decision on a new system they want to buy. It's a very broad, general problem solving focus, because you are a business analyst. You're going there to investigate whatever the problems that the organization might have, and then you gather the requirements, you document the requirements, you analyze it, you model it, you communicate it, and more importantly, you actually finalize it and get the change control started. But when we come to Agile, you are dealing with software products fundamentally. So an Agile business analyst will work on requirements such as epics, user stories, features, initiatives, everything to do with the building of the product or the software itself. An Agile business analyst will be working on things like wireframes, data flow diagrams, whatever is required for us to be able to build that software, that system, that application, that's technology that we are building. The Agile business analyst focuses on those things. So one is very broad in looking at, and don't get me wrong, a traditional business analyst can be also dealing with things like, building some sort of bespoke software. And because of their training, they have that element to be able to deal with things like epics, user stories, acceptance criteria, definition of done, and all that stuff. But when you talk about an Agile business analyst, you are dealing with software building, software development. And the role of the business analyst in this particular domain is to ask the questions: what are the requirements? What are the requirements for us to be able to build this system? Well, we need to start with the stakeholders. We need to start with the client. With the product owner, most likely will be the client-facing personnel. he or she will have the role of going there to understand the key features that the client wants. That will be translated into epics. Then you'll find that the business analyst will take these and start writing what we call user stories, acceptance criteria, and then also coming up with things like wireframes, process maps, data flow diagrams, data diagrams, whatever the case is. The expertise of the business analyst will actually determine how far and how much work they do. In some cases, they don't have to do all. They have the UI UX team that will be focusing on these things. But the point is, it's all around. The Agile project, the Agile business analyst is focused primarily, like Mr. Oji said, is around is Agile. And Agile primarily is in the software world.
Yeah.
So you want to say something?
No, go ahead. I'm listening to you. Yeah.
Okay. So, but that is very important that we clarify. So, in the traditional project managers or the open general business analyst, you are dealing with any kind of problems an organization might have, be it cost, growth, change, whatever it is. It can be products, it can be services, introduction of products into the market. It can be business related, it can be operation related, marketing related, it can be anything. And you have to follow a sequential order to actually arrive at a solution that you can present to the board. The board can take and say, okay, we are now using that to now make decisions. But when you say you are going into Agile, you're becoming an Agile business analyst, then you are looking at software development. That's why you have to be very, very familiar with, tools like Azure DevOps, Jira, Rally. These are all Balsamic, Figma. These are all things that when it comes to the Agile world, the business analyst must be conversant with, because you are dealing with software development. Now, Mr. Oji said something very important at the beginning, which is an Agile business analyst is somebody who deploys Agile methodologies. And then a traditional one is somebody who deploys methodologies. Well, it's important for us to backtrack, and we might probably have some repetitive elements here. But the point is, Agile versus waterfall or the traditional approach, these are all methods in which we do things. But over the years, in as much as we say it has been translated and the focus is more in the software world, Mr. Ojo has said it many times that it's not just even in the software world, it's also across board in different sections, different industries are adopting it. But the point is, at the moment, there's a strong emphasis of deploying the Agile methodology in the software world. And in the software world, you are building different products, different systems, different tools, different applications. But you are deploying Agile methodologies. What is Agile? Agile is a flexible approach, like he said, a flexible approach to actually building products, to developing products, where we create the minimum viable product immediately, send it to the market, get feedback. We don't have to spend too much time in building so many documentations and stuff. We just focus on the key fundamentals, and then we actually just build it. Then we get the feedback, make changes, and then go back again to the market. So there's a continuous iterative element to it. Now that's where the business analyst has to be very proactive. The day-to-day activity of a business analyst is asking a lot of questions, engaging with the right stakeholders, building and writing requirements, building and writing your user stories, your acceptance criteria. All these things cannot come by you sitting in isolation. You've got to engage with the different stakeholders, be it the developers, be it the Scrum Master, be it the product owner, be it the client, be it whoever it is. You're engaging, you're doing more research. So the Agile business analyst, again, is focused on the software world, and their primary focus is enabling, helping gather the right requirements and all the various things that are necessary for us to build the product that we are building. Product here being the technological or digital product that we are building. But one thing that I can quickly say is this, is that to be a very good business analyst, you must have a clear understanding of what a business analyst does. A business analyst is somebody that fundamentally does these 3 or 4 things. Number one, you gather requirements. So you do it through interviews, one-to-one, group sessions, surveys, personal research, whatever the case might be. you gather those requirements, you engage people for their input, understanding, you clarify, you seek to know what the problems and potential issues are. Then once you get that, you now have to do what we call transforming requirements. And that involves analysis, because you need to understand what it is that you've just gathered. So you have to critically investigate what you have in front of you. And you use different techniques, thinking through analysis. You use, and this is just giving you a good understanding here. So you do this analysis, but the analysis now is in your head. You have to now put it in a way that is representative of what can be read and consumed by everybody. And that's where models come in, pie charts, Gantt flow charts, and process maps here and there. All these things are supposed to help now be able to communicate that to people. Once you transform it, you now do what we call finalizing requirements, and that is where you present your requirements to the board. You seek to clarify it, you seek to make sense of it and explain it to the people so that they can buy into it, and then they can start the change process. Now that is across board. When you are either you're an agile business analyst or you are a traditional business analyst, this is the basics of business analysis. But you are going to deploy one in a particular context that focuses on different types of problems, and you're going to focus on one that just focuses primarily on building some type of product. And that's where we said your requirements are not going to be the same as the requirements of a traditional business analyst.
One question I want to ask you is this.
Yes.
When somebody comes to Cedar Pro, for instance, where do you think they can get a job? Where do you think they can work? Which industry they can work? I know we've got it scrolling on the screen, but where have candidates who have come to Cedar Pro, where have they been able to get the job? Like
absolutely. Which industries? The reality is, because of the type of training that we give people, and the fact that we don't just give them, we give them the fundamentals of general and traditional business analysis. And then we also equip them with the fundamentals of agile business analysis, particularly with building technological products, building digital products. What we have seen is that students across board can work in any organization, be it in food, in sports, in oil and gas, in NHS, major corporations like Google, Amazon, local governments. You can work across board because you are very versatile. You know, you go into so many different trainings and there's just one area of focus and there's no clarity as to, oh, am I an agile? Am I doing something that has to do with agile? Am I doing something that has to do with just general business analysis? There is this element there going on. And when people don't have that clarity, they're scared to pick up a job description that has, general business analysis requirements or agile. At Cedar Pro, we train you on both. And we give you the opportunity to actually practice both, so that in any industry you find yourself, you might be in an organization that does tech and does only digital products, but you might be required to assess whether or not that particular product that you are building is actually viable for the market. You still need to deploy agile, you still need to deploy business analysis skills. So, we've seen students go into NHS, we've seen students go into Manchester, Liverpool, we've seen students go to Google, we've seen students go into any organization that is looking for conversant, well-trained, well-equipped business analysis. We train them to go into that direction. And you'll be very bold to actually apply for this work without feeling any sense of inferiority, because you look at the job description and quite honestly, you have the skills and the tools to actually do the job.
Wow. Now, registration is currently ongoing.
Yes.
For the next class.
Yes.
Tell us how the next class is going to be like. And now we people are taking 50% discount is currently ongoing.
Yes.
To the 27th of October. But now, if the next class starts before then, the 50% discount is gone. So
absolutely.
Tell us about what are they expecting to see in the next class?
Well, There's so much going on. I mean, we've started registration, and very soon we'll be closing the registration, which is typical of us. But the point is
Yeah.
that when you come into our PMBA program,
Yeah.
because once we open it, it's like everybody's rushing in to actually get a seat here.
Yeah.
But once you come into our PMBA class, what typically happens is that you are equipped at the foundational level to understand digital transformation, right?
Okay.
What is digital transformation? Why the fuss? Why should you even be bothered at all? And then there's a personality test to help you locate yourself within this whole chaos that is going on. So are you a business analyst? Are you a project manager? Are you a scrum master? Are you a product owner? Are you a product manager? All that stuff. So once that is clear, then you can now say, okay, you are starting your training on project management and then the fundamentals of business analysis. And in those classes of business analysis, we teach you the difference between an agile business analysis and also a traditional business analysis or general business analysis, put it that way. And you get the opportunity to practice those things. You get opportunity to practice it even within the class, the assignments that you have to do, and then post that you have the 3 months work experience where you're going to have the opportunity to practice your knowledge. So our classes are always filled with, I mean, if you're in Clubhouse, you heard from some of our students, the environment, the type of content, the information, the passion that we bring to the table, the years of experience, for example, that people get from myself, Mr. OG, and the fact that we are individuals that are in the trade, that are actually in this particular domain. So we are not just teaching you theory, we are bringing to you core realities on ground, in that sense. So guys, get in touch on the 15th of October. The next class is starting and we are registering. And as we've said, we close our registration as soon as we hit a specific number, and we don't open it until we start the next class. So, get in touch. And Mr. Oji has just said again, we still have that discount going on. So if you are interested, it's a 50% discount. We have it going on, and it's all for you. It's all for you to grab.
So the next class is just around the corner.
It
And
is. It is.
my advice is that anybody should take advantage of it. So now it's 15th October,
Yep.
2022.
Yep.
And we've spoken to you about the class. We've told you where you can get a job and after the training. But one thing I want to ask, people will be saying, but what makes us different from every other organization? Stanton already told you. Well, I'll leave him to tell you.
No, I think you can see it.
The thing about it is that I've gone in different places, taking different courses, Imagine coming to the country and all you've got is just a BA in English, and then starting up now from your diploma all the way to your master's, and then planning your PhD. And then there are some other CPD, different courses, short courses that you've gone for 5 days, 1 day, 10 days, just like that. One unique thing is this, is that is that we see that Pro, despite the fact that we are trainers, but we are also practitioners.
Yes.
And what makes us very, very different from every other person is this. I want you to come and see for yourself. I'm not going to tell you. That's it. Yeah. That's what makes us different. I want you to come and see for yourself and then decide. I don't want to be the one that's going to. We blown our trumpet. We can blow it because we achieved it.
Yeah, exactly.
We achieved it. We worked hard for it. But I want you to come in and see for yourself.
Yes.
A trial will convince you.
Yes.
A trial will convince you.
Yeah.
If we've got students saying we are pushing them to, people say we are pushing them to achieve their goal, to achieve their vision. And we apologize for pushing you to achieve your vision, but our responsibility is to push you to achieve your vision. So you might not understand why we are pushing you, but that's our responsibility. Your responsibility is for you to achieve your vision, but our responsibility is to encourage you, to push you to achieve your vision. So that's who we are, and that's where we are. That's what we are doing. So get involved. Next class is 15th October, and it's filling up quickly. Now, people might ask one thing, Mr. Anthony, I wish I'll just quickly say a little bit here. People say, why is it that your registration is so quick? Because we have limited number that we are allowing to the class. We are not saying we want and 300 people. If 300 people comes in, we can accommodate them by the grace of God. 1,000 come, we can accommodate them. But what we do is this: we want to make sure that those that come in, they come out with the right mindset, the right knowledge, the right skill, the right experience for them to go into the job market. Imagine this. Let me ask you a question before you go. Can you employ yourself? Let's assume you are the CEO of your company. Can you employ yourself when you don't have the knowledge, skill, and experience, and then you want to deliver to a client? That's all I want to ask you. So if you want to know why and what you're going to gain from the class, Mr. Anthony has said something, but I would tell you, come to the class and see for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mr. Anthony, any last word or? Because
come and see for yourself.
That's it.
That's it.
Come see for yourself. And listen to us in Clubhouse. Yesterday, we gave examples of using both systems and where the government of UK, United Kingdom government, has used both systems and how they are still using it. And we can direct you to places where you will see where the system has worked and where it has been used. So, and you see it live. You can even call the people, call the organization and say, why did you change from this traditional way to this agile way? And they will tell you everything. It's all everywhere. So that's it. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much, guys. We'll catch you. We're live tomorrow on Clubhouse, and then on Thursday we are live on IG. And we'll be discussing more of these, and we'll be sharing a lot more beautiful thoughts with you all. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.